this is Bev from Artbybdell, and because our live video was not what I wanted, I wasn't able to work on it. If you were there, then you've seen. And I am going to now prepare a video for you for the community Facebook group challenge, which is Create With Me a Journal. So I have asked you to have ready pages in your journal. I have various pages in mine, like a receipt here, some child's paper, a digital magazine, whatever you choose will be fine. The first thing we're going to do to create a journal is we're going to take some binder clips and we're going to take all of our pages and we're going to put them exactly where we want them, lining up the middle fold. So if we have a shorter page, put it on top, bottom, middle, wherever you want it. And make sure everything is lined up perfectly, just like this. And I'm going to put this one down here, so I'll move that down there. And then this one has to come back up. And I'll leave this one where it's at. And this one wants to come down here. And let's move this one to the middle. And then this one also will come all the way down. And there we go. And then we're to the middle. Now, after we get to the middle, we want to clamp this. We want to clamp it so our pages don't move. We want to make sure when we do this that our pages are tucked all the way down inside here. We want them as close to being tucked away like that. And then we clamp it so that it cannot move. And then we'll do that for the bottom also, making sure our pages are tightly in that seam there next to the, where the spine is going to be. So when we sew it, they're nice and tightly together. I don't know that I described that very well, but hopefully you all understand. So that gets our pages so that they're not moving. Now, if you've got some crinkles, you can adjust that a little bit. Still making sure that your pages are tight in there like that. There, that's pretty good. So now I have my pages secure. What I need to do is I need to make a template, and I've taken a piece of cardstock. It is as tall as my journal pages. So my journal pages measure 8.5 tall. So my piece of paper, cardstock, is 8.5 tall. You can make it, whatever width you want it. This is 3 inches. I guess that's generally what I go to. And then vertically, we're going to fold this in half. Just like so. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is to mark the top of this, because once you put your holes in here, if you turn it upside down, things probably will be slightly off, and it's going to make a difference. So you want to know where your top is. Then the next thing I do, now this is for an A4 size journal, and I am doing a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. And the next thing I'll do is I'll take this and I'll fold it up, the bottom up to meet the top, to find the center. And here's the center, and that's where my first hole is going to be. I'm doing a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, so I need 2 on each end, and I have a total of, let's see, 4 inches. So if I go like, let's go 1.5 and then go 3.5. Now that will make the distance between the center and the first hole shorter than the second hole and the third hole, and I'm okay with that. So here is our second hole and here is our third hole. So on the opposite side, I want to do the same thing. I want to do 1.5, and then I want to do, what was that? 2 inches after that. Okay, so now I have 5 holes marked on my center score line where I folded it. I have the one where I folded up to find the center, and I've marked that here. Then I went 1.5 inches and I marked my second hole, and then I went 2 inches and marked my top hole, and then from the bottom I went down 1.5 inches, and then I went 2 more inches, and so I have my 5 holes for my pamphlet stitch. I have an awl, and what I'm going to do with this now, some people like to clip this into their journal so it doesn't move, and if it's probably a good idea. I don't do that, but it is probably a good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line that up top to bottom, making sure this is the top of my journal here, and I am going to poke a hole through the center, and then I'll go down and I'll do the second one and I'll do the third one, and then I'll go up, and you know you can go up before you go down if you so desire. But what you want to do is get all 5 holes punched with your awl through all of your journal pages for this one signature. Now, if you're having 3 signatures in your journal, then you'll want to do this 2 more times. Today, I am going to attach fabric to my journal, and I'm going to attach my journal pages to my fabric. I'm going to stitch them right on to that instead of onto a journal cover at this point. So I have my piece of fabric, and it is 8.5 inches tall, and this one is 4 inches wide, and this will probably work for a 3 signature journal also. Instead of gluing this into my cover when I get that part, I want to use some carpet tape, and the reason I use carpet tape over shipping tape or duct tape is that it's double-sided. It's woven, it's extremely sticky. It's actually a little difficult to work with, but I like it because it is so sticky. And it makes your journals so secure in your book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a strip, I'm going to line it up right down the center, and then I'll cut that. I can, at this point, actually the easier thing to do, guys, would be to make your fabric strip the width of 3 strips of carpet tape. Then you don't have to try cutting some off. I didn't do that. I wasn't thinking ahead. I never think ahead, guys. I just go for it. So there we have that. And then I'll do 1 more strip over here. We want to cover our whole piece. Here's where we could run in a little trouble, is getting this cut because it's so sticky. And I've cut it a little too long, so I want to cut a little more off it. And then I'm going to, I have to line it up with the edge. I cannot go over the edge because I won't be able to get it cut off. And then I'm going to fold that back on itself and do the, like I say, it's very, very sticky. So use scissors that you're not concerned with, although you can clean it off afterwards. A little bit of lighter fluid will clean the scissors right up. So if you make your fabric strip 3 times the width of whatever your carpet tape is, you won't have to do that part that I did just there. So now I have my whole piece covered, and I want to leave that on there for now. I'm not taking that off. All right. This is going to be the inside of my journal. This is the side that I am going to stitch onto. This will be the back side that I'm going to tape into my journal. So I'm going to find the center of this by folding my fabric strip in half. And there's my center. I will take my template that I made. I'm going to find the center both directions. All right, so there's there's going to be my first punch right there. Then I'm going to use this template that I used to punch the holes in my journal, and I'm going to have it at the top. And I'm not going to measure, I'm going to use these holes, because if I measure, I could get it just a little bit off, and I need it to be right on. So I will take my template, it's folded in half. I have the middle hole lined up with the middle hole on my fabric strip. I'm going to mark the second hole that, remember, was 1.5 inches from the center hole, and then the third hole, which was 2 inches from the second hole from the center. And then I will go ahead and go down and mark my other 2 holes. So now I have my 5 holes on my fabric, and I will just punch them right through the tape, just like this. All right. I will. Now, for my sewing together, I use wax cording. Michael's and Hobby Lobby, I think Hobby Lobby had it too. I know Michael's did. Has this, it's wax Brazilian cord, and it comes in many colors. I just went and bought new, I don't know, last week I think sometime, because I was totally out. So you can get colors, and there's more colors than this. Or you can just get your wax linen cord, which I use a lot also, and that's in white, or it might even be beige. They might have it in both colors, I'm not sure. But today we're going to be fun, and we're going to use green, just because I want to. So let's put these ones aside. And now, to determine the length of your cord, you need to go 3 times the height of your journal. So if it's 8.5 this way, you need 3 times that to get the length of cord that you need to sew 1 signature in. I use a needle that has a big eye on it because it's easier to thread. And I like and another reason why I like the linen, the waxed cord, is because it doesn't fray as badly when you're trying to put it through. Now, if you had just some regular beading cord that wasn't waxed, sometimes that can be difficult to put through. Another reason is it's easy to stitch with. It slides in and out, and it ties very nicely also. So if I want my strings on the inside of my signature, and then I can tie beads or something on them afterwards, then I'm going to start on the inside. Now, if I want my strings on the outside, then you'll start on the outside. With this technique, you will not see this stitching on the outside of your journal. It's going to be considered a closed spine. So I'm going to go down through the first hole, the middle hole, and I'm going to go out through the middle hole on my fabric. So we have this. I will leave myself a little tail like this, and then I usually go up and then work my way back down. So I will go in through the next hole and through my fabric and in through the next hole that I punched on my signature pages. And your needle will probably get sticky by going in and out of that tape. But that's okay, we'll clean it up afterwards. Okay, so I pull this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out through the top hole of my signature, and then out through the top hole of my fabric strip, like this. The next step is, let's pull this tight, to go down through the next hole, which is this hole here, and back in through the journal. Being very careful not to split your cord. That can be very troublesome if you split your cord. So I'm going to come back up through in the center of my journal. Now, for this next step, if you're doing a 5-hole, a 3-hole, a 7-hole, when you come back to your center, you want to skip that center and go down to the hole underneath it. And then you'll go back out through the hole in your fabric, back up through the bottom hole, into the journal again, the signature. And then I'm going to go down through the next hole up, heading back toward the center of my journal, and go back out through the fabric, being careful not to split your threads. Okay. This time we will come up through the center, back through the center hole to the center of our journal. Try not to. I'm going to go through my fabric and then I will catch it going into the journal because it wanted to split my threads at that point. Now, when you come up, back up in the center, you want one thread to be on the left and one thread to be on the right. Just like that, okay? So at this point, I will go through and I will make sure that all of my strings are nice and tight. So I went down through first. So I want to tighten this one by pulling up, and then I'll go up and I'll pull down, and I'll just weave that back and forth, pulling everything taut so that my stitches are nice and tight. And I'll get back to the center, and I should have tight stitches at this point. It looks pretty good, right? Looks pretty good. Now I'm here, I have one on the left, one on the right, and I will tie a double knot. Just like that. Clip my string, and I have my first signature sewn onto my fabric strip that has the duct tape on. Or no, not the duct tape, the carpet tape. There we go. There we go. This is going to be a closed spine. We're not going to worry about this tape right yet. Now, if I were doing 3 signatures, I would have had 3 lines of holes. I would have had one on the right, one in the center, and one on the left. I would have had about a ½ inch space in between each one. Then I would have sewn my first signature in first. My farthest one on my right, I would sew that first, then I'd sew the middle, then I'd sew the farthest one on my left. That works the best for me. It can be done this way, that you sew the middle one in and then the 2 other ones in. It can be done. That's just what I got used to doing, and so that's the way I did it. So this was our challenge for today, was to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch with one signature on a piece of fabric that has carpet tape on the back. Next week, our challenge is going to be putting this into a cover. So what I want you to do is, my cover is going to be a repurposed shipping bag, normally in Amazon. So I will start you from start to finish on how I do a repurposed shipping bag for a cover for a journal. So again, sorry about the live video. If you have any questions on this, please don't hesitate to put some questions down below in the comments, and I will get back to you on them. All right. Otherwise, we will see you next Sunday. Look for information about what we're doing next week on Sunday in the community page. That's where you'll need to go. Go to the community page. I'll have information there. And what I did was I put the information below the post that has the meerkat on it. So anything that has to do with challenges, look for the meerkat, and he is going to lead you to information about challenges. He's very informative and very helpful and very easy to spot too. He's really, really cute. So we shall see you Sunday with where we'll go from here. Until then, I hope you have good luck in putting your signatures into a fabric strip. And if you don't use the tape, that's fine. If you don't want to go with the tape, we will glue it in. You will glue it in, okay? And that'll work the same, do it the same way, and we'll just glue it into our journal cover once we get that made. So you guys have a great day. I'm headed out of town tomorrow, I think. And we shall see you again on Sunday. I'll be in and out though, answering questions. So go ahead and post your questions, and I'll be there to answer. Okay, love you guys. See you again soon. Bye now.